The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at raharden.com. That's the World Wide Web at RAHARDIN.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
This is Rio of Madison Rising, and you're listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
The mainstream media is really the make-believe media. First, they make up the news, and then they make you believe it.
Hi, this is Susan Swift.
I'm highly successful, have been all my life. I have enjoyed successful careers in film, television, and law.
I'm Dan Wright, a father, a gun owner, a dog owner, and a Federalist.
I'm Susan Swift, and you are listening to Constitution and Culture on KLRN Radio,
where liberty and reason still reign.
You found us! This is Constitution and Culture. This is Susan Swift and Dan Wright, and I'm really excited that we're here today. Thank you for listening. It's so cool to have you. We're going to be talking about the Ninth Circus ban on travel, that craziness that's happening. It's so silly. And we're going to be talking about football and the wonderful job that Lady Gaga did. And gosh, so many things are going. The crazies are out. The crazies at Berkeley. Did you know they started setting a college on fire? I mean, have you been paying attention to any of this? Because they're so rabid, they're so crazy that they cannot allow freedom of speech. They hate so much that the notion that our Constitution guarantees our freedom of assembly and our freedom of speech, that these crazies, and this is probably funded by George Soros, there he's got fingerprints on it, that he's paying people to break college windows and battering rams and set fires and start fireworks going and drive away a gay man who's married to a black guy because they don't want this gay guy, Milo Yiannopoulos, who's married to a black guy. They don't want him. Berkeley does not want this man speaking on the enshrined halls of where the free press movement began, where freedom of speech was enshrined at Berkeley. That's the heart of the free speech movement. And they don't want to have a gay guy with his, who's married to his boyfriend who's black. Now, they can't say, these crazy liberal people, they can't say the mask is taken off now. Can we all agree? They're not against Milo because he's gay, are they? Are they really bigots and homophobes, and are they really the racists that I believe them to be? I mean, they obviously hate the man because he's gay. They hate him because he's black. No, what they really hate him for is he's a conservative. That's why they hate Milo, because he writes for Breitbart, and he calls himself the dangerous, and it's an F word, but it's not the F-bomb. It's another word that is used as a slur against people who are gay, and it ends with a T. He calls himself that. That's what Milo says. He calls himself that. And so he's coming on, he's doing a tour, a publicity tour. He's coming to Berkeley just to rattle their cages. And I love that. So he comes to campus, and Berkeley goes berserkly. That's their nickname. And they prove it every time. And they absolutely shut the campus down with rioting and hitting people with signs. And the police have to escort, Milo and gang off outside. And it hasn't been addressed. And well, while that happens,
the thing is, I mean, I'm not a giant Milo fan, but when I was, he gained his reputation of being an anti-feminist. That's how he gained his reputation, and he was brutal on third wave feminism. I mean, he was fantastic on it. And I'm talking a year and a half, 2 years ago. He was brutal and factual and right every time. And that's the kind of stuff they hate about him. Is
you have to understand that liberals are all about you. This is what I'm hoping that more and more people are finally seeing now. They are all about centralized government control and absolute dominance. They are, I mean, it conjures up ideas of, basements with chains and whips and all kinds of very evil-looking torture devices for sadomasochism. That's what these liberals are like. They play to win. They will fight to the death. Every battle matters to them. We have to fight liberalism. I'm not talking about all the Democrats. Sometimes Democrats are just, regular Democrats who just go and vote. They're, God bless them. They don't know any better a lot of the times, regular folks. But liberalism and liberals who are in the ideology, they are out to absolutely destroy this country. They hate you. They hate you. They hate you. Why? Because you believe in individual rights and individual liberties that come from God. We are in the middle of a spiritual battle, make no mistake about that, because the United States is a reflection of God's natural law on earth. It is where we believe that, hey, God gives me the right for free speech, and no one can take that away from me. And in fact, what police officers are supposed to do is protect my right to free speech and the rights of others to assemble. If I go to a college and I say, yes, I'm going to be speaking about whatever it is, feminism or global warming, whatever it is, I should be able to go and I should be safe while I'm speaking. It's my job to fill the seats. My job to get more than 3 people and my mother to listen to me, okay? That's on me. But I should have the right to be able to go and schedule and talk. And that's what our Constitution guarantees. That is absolutely contrary to the liberal ideology that says we need one global world order where all the power is centralized in the elites, the kings, the queens, if you will. And I, the government, I shall decide what you shall say, what you shall eat, how much energy you're allowed to burn, and what money you're going to make. It's complete fascism. That's what these people want. And anything that we do to oppose it, anything we do, like Trump's travel ban, I mean, everybody calls it the Muslim ban. It's not a Muslim ban. That's fake news. But the travel ban, the reason that is such a big deal to the liberals is because that's one of the three rails for them. That starts getting close to immigration and borders. They don't want borders. They want the United States to be a borderless world. They don't want borders. We're all one global community, don't you know? And we all embrace everything. It's all multiculturalism. What do you think multiculturalism is? That's when you have no borders and we all have a big balkanized mess. And who does that help? I'll tell you who that helps. That helps the rulers. Divide and conquer, baby. So what they want is one global world order, and they don't want borders. They don't want that. They're furious about Brexit. They're furious that the United States just put President Trump in the White House because they see all the work that they've been doing toward one multiculturalism global world with all the power. They see that threatened. They absolutely hate the Constitution and they want it shredded, and they are doing everything they can legally to shred it. They're also doing everything they can with the George Soros and company to agitate, to put fear into people. They would absolutely love it if enough radical terrorist types got over here before the Trump ban and before the border gets all sealed up, or if they're already sleeper cells. They would absolutely love it if some of these things started happening, like San Bernardino and in Florida, in Orlando. They like that because that will instill fear into the heart of regular Americans, and pretty soon it will be like living like the poor folks who live in Israel right now. To go anywhere in Israel, if you want to go in the market, there's an armed guard right there, and he has to search your bag and he searches you. And if you want to go to a restaurant, you got to search everybody in your party and look, everybody's getting patted down and searched because these radicals, they strap bombs onto their little kids. The Palestinians, they'll strap bombs on an 8-year-old girl and send her into a restaurant to blow it up. That's who we're dealing with. And they think that's cool. They think liberals think that is for a noble cause. There is no such noble cause as killing an 8-year-old for. That's ridiculous.
The actual the group that Soros, everybody believes, and I'm sure he did put together, they're calling themselves Antifa. They're calling themselves anti-fascist. Yeah, but when that's in all actuality, they are fascist. Yes, in New York, Gavin McInnes was doing a comedy show, a right-wing comedy show. NYU, and same type of thing happened in Berkeley. Now, a woman who is a conservative is actually, there's footage of this, is talking to a news reporter on camera. And one of these little twerps runs up and pepper sprays her in the face.
Yeah, I saw that. Just sick.
Now, they're the ones crying fascism and free speech, yet they are stifling everybody's free speech.
That's what
Google has now redefined fascism. Fascism is now, according to Google, fascism is the right wing trying to hold down free speech and freedom. That is the basic definition of Google of fascism now. Right wing is now in the definition.
They're ludicrous, but you see what they're doing? The goal is to make us all fearful and to make us shut up. That's what they're trying to do with Milo at Berkeley, is to shut him up. They want to shut up the dangerous F person, okay? The F person, all right? They're trying to shut him up because they don't want him talking because he's conservative, not because he's gay, not because he's married to a black man. That's not it. What they hate about him is that he's conservative, and they hate you and they hate me just as much. They don't come after us because we're not as big a threat as he is. Milo's a beautiful threat because he is gay. He is married to a black guy. He is the poster boy of liberalism, right? Gay, married to a black guy, and all the social trappings, but he's conservative. I mean, it's funny. I have some friends of mine who are, they're gay men, and they're very happily married and very quietly living their lives. They are not these radical bomb throwing dudes. They're nice people, right? And they are as conservative as the day is long, and they're terrific. And they got no problem, and I got no problem with them. They're terrific people, right? I don't have a problem with them, with people like that. They're just living their lives. What I have a problem with are what I call homoculturalists. Homoculturalists are, in fact, liberals. They demand that everyone have the same set of values and viewpoints. They demand that we all redefine marriage. They demand that we're all vegan, or whatever it is, whatever their, word of the day is. That's what homoculturalism is. It is it's a use of radical techniques to force a redefinition of marriage and social construct on people. That's what they are. And that's why Milo is so perfect, because he looks like, your typical, pajama boy liberal guy, right? But he speaks a message, and they will do anything to make sure that the facade of liberalism is not cracked by somebody like Milo, because if he comes in to an indoctrination camp, that's what education is anymore. Any of these colleges, they're indoctrination camps where they vampirize your children. I spend 18 years raising good, conservative kids who, know right from wrong, and I send them off to college, and I pay for the privilege for them to be turned against me, for their brains to be sucked out through their nose, basically, ideologically, and new crazy ideas to be implanted, so that they come home and they hate the man and they hate the government and they think Trump's a white racist. That's what I'm paying for with my taxes and with my tuition dollars when I send my kids off to college. And they're also saddled with, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 worth of debt, so they don't want to bother, dating and getting married, because that's an expensive proposition, and they've got their student loans they've got to pay off first. So what they're doing is, in effect, voluntarily sterilizing my children. My children are saying, well, you know what, I got this debt. I better not start a family. I've really got to get a PhD first so I can earn anything. They're going to be in school for like 12 years. They're going to graduate in their 30s, and they're going to have 1.2 kids, like somebody in Italy. And we're wondering why we're having the death spiral is going on in Europe and other Western cultures where no one's reproducing. Well, what are we teaching them in school? We're teaching them that, the world's going to burn up tomorrow with global warming. The CO2 levels are rising. The earth is going to die from all of these little carbon footprints. And so we need to get rid of as many children as we can. Somebody had that idea coming on the internet recently. And so we're teaching all of our kids in these indoctrination camps called higher education college that what they were taught at home is wrong, and that their parents are evildoers. That's what Berkeley teaches. And that's what they wanted. They wanted to make sure the very last thing they wanted was somebody like Milo coming in there and cracking the facade and saying, hey, wait, I'm gay. I'm married to a black guy, and I'm conservative. And I'll tell you why conservatism is the American goal and dream, and why it's good for you, and why our country needs to adhere to our Constitution. And he's brilliant at it. And they can't let someone who is that good of a speaker, who cracks the facade, they can't let that guy on campus. It's better that they pay, $2,500 to a rabble rouser to, end up getting booked in jail for $5,000 bail, and they can't even pay their bail.
That's the whole thing. I mean, even with the NYU deal. I mean, Gavin McInnes, yes, he's a conservative, but I've paid attention to this guy for a long time. He's very. I've watched his show a lot. He does a show on Anthony Cumia's network. It's actually a television podcast, and he's very socially liberal, and he's a Trump supporter, and he's more of a, I'd call him almost like one of these libertarians for Trump. He's socially conservative or liberal, and kind of along my lines. I mean, I am too.
I know.
Right. Well, it's not
I
even.
need to work on you.
I believe. I mean, you know my stance on abortion, but I mean, my whole
we can
thing.
agree on 80% of it, and I love you, and I'll take the 80%, and
Yeah.
then I'll keep working. I'm like Reagan. I'll come back for more, but I'm going to take that 80%.
But I mean, it's like, one of my favorite tongue-in-cheek quotes from Austin Peterson is, "I believe in the right for a gay married couple to protect their pot fields with an automatic machine gun." I'm for personal rights, but so is Gavin McInnes. But they don't like that. They'll sit there and they don't like the I'm for everybody's rights. They're for I'm only for the rights of the people I want rights for.
Right. You're only for the rights. You're only for the rights of those who are born, not the ones who are yet to be born. Right? Because you don't want equal rights for unborn women. Yeah, that's too much rights. Yeah, we can't, because an unborn woman, that's not her body. Yeah. But anyway, hey, let's switch to something that's a little more fun. Hats off and mea culpa. I've got to say this right out. I really thought that Lady Gaga was going to make a big political statement. I wasn't even going to watch it, and I turned off the television after the first half. My husband and I were going, oh man, this is so boring. Why is this game so boring? I was trying to analyze the camera angles in the Super Bowl, and I was trying to figure out, why am I just so bored with this? It was just because, the Falcons were kicking it, man. They were just, 28 to almost 0 for most. They were destroying them until the very, very end. They got the 3 points on the near the very end, but I was thinking, that's it. I should turn it off. And then I thought, the only reason that I turned on the halftime is because of you, Dan, and because of this show. Because I thought, all right, I got to be able to say something. Let's go see what she's gonna do. She's gonna do something radical and cheesy and awful, and I've got to know what it is. So I turned it back on, and I was so.
I did the same thing. I did the same thing.
You watched Lady Gaga for me.
It wasn't in it. I've said it. It was, I said some things on social media, but I did agree with people and applauded her for just doing the show.
She did more than that. I retweeted what somebody said. Gaga was a lady. Really, truly was. She, you know what? She's very, very smart performer, because you know what she realized. I'm glad she did this, and bravo for her. First of all, it was an epic performance. She's basically skydiving in with these guide wires. She's doing, it looks like Cirque du Soleil, for crying out loud, as she's singing with a live mic.
And that's a big jump.
Oh my gosh!
From the roof of that stadium, that's a big jump. I applauded her. I didn't.
Just doing it.
Personally, but it's just personal. I was like, it's
physically that was outstanding. Physically, just he had to have practiced in some sort of a gym or somewhere to get the guide wires on the harness and everything, and to descend and to kind of come flying down like something like out of Mission Impossible, like a Tom Cruise move. And she's got a microphone, and she's singing, and she's got her makeup and her hair going, and then she lands. She did about like 3 costume changes in the middle of it, and she's dancing, and did you know she's doing all of that like Ginger Rogers with high heel boots on, man? Did you see those?
Oh yeah, no.
They're like 2.5, 3 heels. My gosh, try dancing like that, and deep knee bends and the whole thing. And she's doing it without muffing one word. She's doing a perfect job. And then, oh my gosh, and you know what? For me, when I heard the Born This Way, I know that's. She wrote it because she really meant to be talking about people who are gay. They're born this way, and it's supposed to be about homosexuality and things. But you know what? Every time I hear that song, you know what I hear? I hear pro-life. I hear, I'm born this way. I don't care if I've got Downs. I don't care if I, not perfect or cerebral palsy or whatever, or if I'm inconvenient and I just happen to be born when you're 15. I'm born this way. So I see it as pro-life. That's the way I do it. But I loved the song. I thought she did a brilliant job of it. And she moved into the next thing. And then she was playing the piano and still kind of not even out of breath. And she's singing and playing the piano. And she said a shout out to her mom and dad. Oh my gosh, yeah. What a class act. And at the end of this, what really occurred to me of the whole thing is she understood It is a very few people in the world who are ever going to be invited to play the Super Bowl. I mean, that's infinitesimal. And you know what? They're always going to remember her, what she did. Just like Janet Jackson. When you remember Janet Jackson, it was the nipple. Yeah. That's all we're going to remember is the costume malfunction. And everybody, I mean, I've been cringing since then. I don't even let my kids sometimes watch the halftime shows because I'm like, I don't want another one of the Janet Jacksons. And she, Lady Gaga, was smart enough and savvy enough to know, I am going to be remembered for this. And she wanted to unite America, and she did it in a positive way without going all nasty political. And I have such new respect for her. I'm actually going to start listening to her songs and kind of maybe buying an album or something. I'm a big fan because she was a professional. She was a professional. I know she's got different views from me, but you know what? She performed. She gave me a performance, and she did it professionally. And I'm really impressed by her. I thought that was.
I will 100% agree with you on that. And I mean, like, my take on it is, you know, as a mediocre musician myself, I think she's a fantastic and talented musician, dancer, everything. She's not my cup of tea. That's all. You know, I mean, basically, like I said last night, is okay. Now we've had Lady Gaga. Next year, can we have Metallica, please? But you know,
oh yeah, different strokes for different folks. I get it, but you know what? She impressed me last night. I'm glad I watched it. Like I said, it's not my cup of tea, but I'm glad I watched it. It was good. It was well put together. It blew Beyonce's Black Panther praise and anti-cop praise out of the water. So I'm happy. Oh, it was way better than that. It was, I mean, she was jumping off the roof and there were fireworks. And, oh, you know what? Just the one thing alone that I had never seen before was the very imaginative light show with all of the flashlights that were coordinated and spreading out and going to colors and everything. And she came down into the crowd and hugged one of them. I've not seen a show like that. I mean, this was really, she set a new bar for halftime shows. Really, she did.
No,
and I was,
as much as I didn't want to watch it, I was glad I did.
I did too. I mean, and then guess what? You're gonna die. Are you ready?
Then I watched the Falcons dropped the ball.
No, it's worse. I turned it off after about 3 minutes into the second half because my husband was like, "This game is going nowhere. This is boring." And we said, "Okay, forget it." And we turned on for the kids Godzilla, the new movie that, you know, the like 2015, 2016. Godzilla. It's a fabulous movie. So we started watching Godzilla. And then my daughter came in, said, "Mom, the game's in overtime." And we're like, "No, you're getting me kicked." Jumped back and we caught the whole overtime. I saw
a very, very, very funny meme today, and it was Brady and Belichick standing on the sideline, and it was Brady. The caption over Brady's head was, "Okay, we're going to let them go down 3 touchdowns, and then we're going to take it back in the second half." And then the caption over Belichick's head said, "Sounds like a plan. Go for it."
Well, they really, I mean, and now, you know, everyone knows. I mean, that was the biggest come from behind win ever, and it was the first Super Bowl overtime ever. And I missed that second half, so you'd have to tell me what really, I mean, how they got to the 28. Maybe tell me that out at the end of the break because we're on the other side of the break. We got a break here in a second, so.
Yes,
maybe
we
you can
do.
Come up and tell me what did I miss because I did. So, all right. Anyway, my name's Susan Swift. You can find me at Susan Swift. Yeah, you can also find me at susanswift.net. And I'm back with Dan after the break. And we're going to talk more fun Super Bowl. And then we're also explain what the liberals are doing in the courts.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at raharden.com. That's the World Wide Web at RAHARDIN.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Hey, we're back, and sorry about that. We ran over our break a little bit. But Susan, why don't you once again go ahead and give your social media info?
You can find me at Susan Swift on social media. You can also find me on the web at susanswift.net. And Dan, where can we find you?
You can find me at Right1Dan on Twitter. And you can find me on Friday nights on Robinson and Wright, right here on KLRNRadio. And you can find me on Facebook at Daniel Wright, and I may be there, I may not.
Hey, we were talking right before the break about how I missed the second half of the Super Bowl. I saw the whole overtime thanks to my daughter because she told us, but I missed the second half. So Dan, can you give us a 30-second rundown for those of us like me who didn't bother to watch the second half? Sorry.
Yeah, basically, I think what happened was both teams went into halftime, and somehow Bill Belichick stole Atlanta's game plan because it completely reversed. The second half started.
The Russians hacked the Falcons' victory. The Russians hacked it. He probably delivered Belichick. Belichick sounds like he could be I bet you the Russians hacked it. That's what happened. And there was probably a drone flying by. Yeah.
Well, Stephen Miller on Twitter today said that the real satanic ritual that happened at halftime ended up being Belichick in the locker room.
I wonder what I was really wondering what he said to his players in the
because it was a complete and total role reversal, and I will admit, I mean, Atlanta looked a little tired, and they committed a lot of penalties.
Maybe they just flat run out, just lost.
Yeah, I mean, because I've never seen a first half team do what they did in the Super Bowl, especially against the Patriots. I mean, it was amazing.
Well,
I mean,
the Patriots are five times. I mean, Brady is, he is the God hero now for American sports. And you know what?
Well, and so is Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, he's the first coach to win 5 Super Bowls.
Oh, well, obviously. But
it's a complete dynasty. What is going to happen to the Patriots when Belichick and Brady are gone? That's what I want to know.
Well,
I mean, is it going to be a team that goes the route of what Dallas did when they had the dynasty?
Oh, stop going negative. Oh, you're killing me. It's wonderful. Tom Brady is a God hero. He won 5. I mean, he's almost 40, isn't he? He's like 39 or 40. I mean, my gosh, he is wonderful. And you know what? The other thing that really makes me mad about the football, you know about that, because Trump wanted the Patriots to win. So even Trump is even winning football games now. Winning, #winning. The liberals are just coming unglued. Everything is politics to them. They did what I did. They thought, oh, this game's in the bag. 9:00 on the East Coast. There's not going to be any more playing. The Falcons have won this. 91% chance of that the Falcons win, and there's 0%. I think one guy was at Nate Silver on 538 said 0.5% chance that Brady will pull it out in the end. Some stuff. I mean, they were making these crazy predictions, and basically by the halftime had decided that the Falcons had won, just like they had decided that Hillary Clinton was the heir apparent to Barack Obama, and Queen Hillary was going to be crowned, and it was all a done deal. And they counted out the patriots. They counted out the American patriots who came and voted. They counted out Donald Trump, and that's why they were. This last night was supposed to be kind of a vindication. This was supposed to be, but the Patriots lost where it mattered in the national football game, and the Patriots, they lost. No, they won. And it just rubbed in salt in the wound into these liberals one more time. So I was glad.
Here you go. At halftime, Sean King, you know who Sean King is, don't you? Okay. Sean King was all these tweets about just tying Donald Trump to the Patriots and they're getting killed and everything else. I tweeted him today. I said, it's all your fault. That's what I said to him today.
Why is it all
that Atlanta lost? Because at halftime he was putting out all these tweets. Ha ha ha, Donald Trump, your team's losing. Okay, Atlanta's gonna win. Ha ha ha.
Mojo that made the Patriots win, right? It was
I'm just saying. No, I just put that out to him to tick him off.
To punk him.
I just wanted to make him mad. I don't believe in that kind of mojo. I think that the Patriots were just the Patriots, and they went in at halftime and they did what they do. They changed their game plan and they won the game.
Well, I'm sorry I missed the halftime, but I'm so glad I caught the overtime. It was so exciting, and the catch and everything. Oh, it was great. I love football. I have not watched it very much this year because I've been so disheartened and dispirited because of, Beyonce and Black Panthers and different things going on, and all the whole Colin Kaepernick. I'm going to take a knee because I think that America is an oppressive regime. I just wanted to throttle that guy. You're making millions and millions of dollars, and you don't even stand for our national anthem. The national anthem that was played to protect your rights, especially as a black man, and for 600,000 people to die during the Civil War, and other people to walk across bridges with Martin Luther King, to make sure that you have the privilege to play football and get millions of dollars, and you're going to be such an arrogant jerk that you're gonna take a knee. I got so turned off at the whole NFL, and the NFL didn't come out and really do much about it. And I like these owners need to get a spine. They need to talk to Belichick and Tom Brady and figure out where they got their stones and install a few, because what you do to players like this is you say, like Belichick does, which is, look, you know what? If you have a pet charity or something that's important to you, I will back you. If you're going to put $1,000 toward it, I will too. But you're not doing it on the field at my game because you're my employee and that this is our company. That's the way this goes.
Well, even the Falcons.
Yeah.
The Falcons who brought in military personnel to train with them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was wonderful. And you've got Kaepernick. You got Kaepernick who's complaining, yet he has a room in his house devoted to his shoe collection.
Like Imelda Marcos. Woo!
Yeah, he has a room in his house devoted to his shoe collection, yet he's oppressed.
Yeah, I know. He's oppressed like Imelda Marcos was oppressed. I know.
Right.
But I loved what they did right after the end of the Super Bowl when they showed military personnel serving in overseas. I don't know if it was in Afghanistan or I forgot. And they picked out a few people so that these servicemen and women got to watch the game with their family by via satellite uplink in this big surround sound. Oh, I started to cry. It was so wonderful and it reminded us. Look, the football. That's just a game, guys. It's a lot of fun.
The football is there because of them. It's there because of them.
Yes, that was.
We have it because of them.
We have the freedom to play games. We have the freedom to sit on computers and play silly games. We have the freedom to enjoy everything we enjoy while those guys and gals are sitting in the sand, dirty and hot and sweaty, and they can't even talk to their loved ones on a regular basis, or they've got to wake up at 2 a.m. because the time difference and all of that. And they're serving because they love this country, and they're terribly underpaid, and they don't have to be there. They volunteered, and I was so touched by how they did that. But anyway, enough.
To give you a really quick update, because you and I talked about this almost 2 weeks ago on the show. That friend of mine, the friend of mine I told you about that was waiting on her orders, she's currently unemployed waiting on her orders. Doesn't know if she should take another job because her orders could drop, but she's still on the Obama budget. So she is a current She's currently active duty military personnel with no orders, not working, not getting paid.
Wow. Well, I don't know how I'm going to segue from that, but we really need to update people on what's going to be happening right now with the quote unquote, the so-called Muslim ban. Dun, dun, dun. There is no such thing.
Which is not a ban at all.
Wait, you know what? Before we segue too much, because we've been talking about the military, I want you to hear a few of the things that President Trump said to our troops. He went to CENTCOM today, and he gave a wonderful speech, and we've got a few audio clips from that where he was explaining how we support our military families. You need to take a listen to a couple of these things.
We will ensure that the men and women of our military have the tools, equipment, resources, training, and supplies you need to get the job done. You've seen. Let me also recognize the military families and spouses who bravely shoulder the burdens of war. I want every military family in this country to know that our administration is at your service. We stand with you 100%. We will protect those who protect us, and we will never, ever let you down.
That's President Trump speaking to the troops, and that's what a president should sound like. And I was so. Have you heard
anything like that over the last 8 years?
Of course not. And then he went on to say how. And this is the kind of speech that our troops need to hear. We need to remember this. I'm going to save this soundbite so we can play it over and over again. We will defeat radical terrorism. Take a listen to this, what he said to them.
We will defeat radical Islamic terrorism, and we will not allow it to take root in our country. Freedom,
bam,
security, and justice will prevail.
I love it. Love it. We will defeat radical Islamic terrorism. We will not let it take root in our country, and freedom must prevail. And that is the root of why he put a travel ban in place, a temporary travel ban. I'm going to read you something that a friend of mine wrote, because what's going on in our schools, and I'm sure it's going on, it's not just here in California and high schools in California, I'm sure it's probably over a lot of the country. What's being taught and commented on, there are teachers who are kind of commenting on the Muslim ban, and they're referring to it in a derogatory fashion, and they're teaching their students that basically Trump is preventing Muslims from coming here because he hates religion. Basically, he hates the Muslim religion. That's in essence what's going on. A mother was very upset about this and has actually written to the high school, and she shared the letter with me. I'm only going to read a portion of it because it really lays out what's really going on. The Obama administration in 2015, that's the Obama administration, 2015, enacted the Visa Waiver Program Improvement and Terrorist Travel Prevention Act. Okay? In it, Iran, Iraq, Sudan, and Syria were restricted access to visa waivers into the U.S. That was under Obama. In 2016, Homeland Security, under the Obama administration, added Libya, Somalia, and Yemen. These countries were identified as sources of terror. 6 of these 7 countries don't have a centralized government, Iran being the exception. President Trump's executive order places a 90-day moratorium on individuals entering the U.S. from those 7 countries. Not because they're Muslim, but because they're from those 7 countries. And it suspends refugee status for 120 days while screening procedures are reworked. Nowhere in the executive order are Muslims or their beliefs even mentioned. In fact, there are over 40 predominantly Muslim countries that are not on the list. My friend says, I explained this to one of my daughters in this way. We have doors with locks on our house to protect us from people who we do not know and who may intend to do us harm. We don't allow people into our home until we know who they are. And she wanted to let the teachers, the principal of the school know that this is what's being taught in the schools, that the teachers are referring to Trump and saying that he's trying to ban all Muslims. This is not true. The executive order that we are talking about is a travel ban, and it is placed on people who are coming from those 7 countries that Obama identified as sources of terror. And that's why we have a ban. It's also a temporary ban. It is not even a full, it's 90 days because we just had a transition in administration. And for that, what the liberals are so upset over a 90-day transitional period where all Trump did was basically hit the pause button and said, you know what, let's pause and rewind here. We got to make sure that no bad guys are coming from these 7 countries that Obama has already named as sources of terror. So give me 90 days. We need to rework it. We need to have vetting procedures in place, and then we'll go forward. They are so crazy about it that they filed a lawsuit. Now, what they did is they picked the venue. Venue picking is you find there are more liberal courts, those are judicial activists, the liberals, and then there are more conservative courts, like in Texas and places like that. Where did the liberals go? Well, they went to Washington. Okay, they went to the state of Washington, and they now found a judge on the 9th Circuit who, he was appointed by Bush, but there was a lot of horse trading that went on because he's an absolute liberal. Crazy guy. I mean, he's praised Black Lives Matter, and what he has done, that's Judge Robart, he has granted a temporary restraining order. A temporary restraining order is exactly what it sounds. It's temporary, and it restrains the action of whatever you brought before the court until a full hearing can be made. It by nature, it's procedural, so that you have very little time, because to get a TRO heard, you have to go into the judge in a very short amount of time, and you have to allege there's going to be imminent harm and damage, and if we don't stop it right now, the world might end. It has to be that kind of a level, because you're asking for a judge to stop something immediately without a hearing. And so it's a temporary thing, and until you can get the hearing done. Well, now the other side, in this case, Trump administration, now has the opportunity to come back after the ruling and say, well, we're going to appeal that. We want it to be heard by a panel of judges on the Ninth Circuit, so that this Judge Robart doesn't have the last word. You appeal it up. And that has indeed, we've got news that has broken in the last hour that says, yes, three federal judges will hear oral arguments in the challenge to President Donald Trump's executive order on immigration. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be on tomorrow, Tuesday night. They're going to be hearing the arguments on both sides. The issue in front of the court is not whether or not Trump's travel ban is constitutional, but whether or not it remains suspended by this Judge Robart. Okay, the question of constitutionality that would have to be appealed up later. Right now, what we're looking at is, can this judge, can he block the executive order from being applied while the constitutionality of the ban is being discussed in the court? So that's all that they're going to be discussing.
Right, and an executive order that basically reaffirms a law put in place by President Obama.
Even as we are a nation of immigrants, we're also a nation of laws. Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws.
That was Obama.
When I took office, I committed to fixing this broken immigration system.
And you fixed it, but
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay when certain people do it.
They're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century.
That's right. It's all totally normal. It's everything. Here's what's really interesting.
Can I also add something? Can I add something to this discussion? Yeah. That I have a kind of a family member who is a Christian Persian who grew up in Iran. And until this stay, quote unquote, stay on the travel ban came through, he couldn't travel for the last couple of years to go see his mother because Iran has a travel ban against us.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay, though, because we're horrible. According to Americans, we're horrible. So we can't travel to Iran, but they should be allowed to travel here.
Yeah, right. In retaliation to Trump, Iran has now banned entry of all future U.S. hostages, right?
Yeah. But like I said, I mean, his family is there. His mother can't travel anymore. He goes back there to see her on a regular basis. He's been here since 1978. He came here to go to college, and he's been here ever since. He's a U.S. citizen. He is now not allowed to travel there, or hasn't been until 2 days ago.
Well, that's
because they had a travel ban. They had Iran had a travel ban against us.
Right, because they don't want any future U.S. hostages coming in, man. Because hey, we'll have more hostages. Yeah. This is the same country that took hostages, folks. And we have a problem we have a problem putting a 90-day temporary, ban to say, hey, we just need to vet you guys. We need to be able to figure out if you're good guys or bad guys. Give me a break. What's really interesting, though, you're going to be able to see, if you pay any attention to this, the TRO battle that's shaping up, you're going to see who's on the side of the good and the side of the bad. We've got amicus briefs. Amicus briefs are friends of the court. They are briefs that are filed kind of in support. It's kind of like a popularity contest at your high school. All the cheerleaders go to one side and say, yeah, we really like you. They all glom onto you, and then the other side has their friends, right? So several former senior U.S. officials, including former Secretaries of State John Kerry, and Madeleine Albright signed onto a declaration in support of a brief filed by the Attorney General of Washington State and the Attorney General of Minnesota. So they're filing. They're saying, yeah, we approve what Washington State's doing in Minnesota. So you know that they're on the side of these liberals who want to make sure that our borders stay completely 100% open. All right. And the other funny thing that's happening is that there are amicus briefs from 16 other state attorneys general. All right. This is including Pennsylvania and Iowa, which voted for Trump. They filed a memorandum in support of efforts to halt the travel ban. Okay. The state attorneys general from these states argue that they have standing as the executive order inflicts harm on states, including disruption at state universities and medical institutions. These states include New York, California, Connecticut, Delaware, Iowa, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, New Mexico, Oregon, Rhode Island, and Vermont, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, as well as, of course, District of Columbia. So they're all lining up, okay? They're all lining up, and what this is to do is to test, to see, does Congress, because, you see, the president, the power to control the border, in this case, to put this temporary travel ban, this has been given to the president from the Congress. It's a good thing everybody ought to think about. Do we really want to be delegating the power of the Congress to presidents? Because the Congress has done quite a lot of that. And what it has done is it has made the executive branch very, very powerful. Yes, in this case, conservatives will think, yeah, this is a good thing, but we really do need to have that discussion as to how come the Congress can't do its job? Why is the Congress just delegating authority to the guy who's in the White House every 4 years? That's probably a mistake. But what we're seeing is, can the president has a valid grant of power from the Congress, right, to control the borders. Now we're going to see if liberal judges can shut that down and, in effect, unbalance the Constitution and shred the Constitution even further, so that we're going to be determining whether we have borders or not, depending on which liberal judge favors border control and which doesn't. All of these guys in black robes, as Mark Levin would refer to, all of these guys in black robes are going to decide whether you and I, we the people, can control our border. This is what happens when Congress doesn't do its job. And now, of course, we've got so many liberals in so many courts across this country in the federal judiciary. This is the next battle that's coming up. This is why Judge Gorsuch is such an important person. Oh, and before we go, here's how this is going to shake out. On Tuesday night, they're going to hear oral arguments. They're going to have a 3-panel judge at the Ninth Circuit. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's going to go from there, whether depends on how the ruling comes down. They could also appeal then to a hearing en banc. That means all of the judges in the Ninth Circuit, all 27 or 29 of them, hear it again before it then gets appealed again up to the Supreme Court. So the steps right now are, we have a liberal judge, the administration is appealing his TRO, and they're going to a 3-judge panel on the Ninth Circuit. Depending on how that panel is going to rule, you bet you know that Washington State and Minnesota, they're going to make an appeal if the TRO is lifted, and so this is going to continue to go up. They're trying to get it to the Supreme Court. Here's why they are in a rush, meaning the liberals are in a rush to get this to the Supreme Court. Currently, what do we have on the Supreme Court? 4-4. We have 4 liberal judges and we have 4 semi-conservative and conservative judges, right? And Gorsuch is at least 6 weeks away, I guess, until they can have his confirmation hearing. If he gets onto the bench, he would probably vote to hear it. That's how matters like these are. The court has to agree to hear it. They could vote if there's 4-4. It has to be 5 judges vote to agree to hear, to take certiorari, to take the case and say, yeah, we'll look at this. We will go ahead and hear this case. Right now, it's 4-4. So until we get Gorsuch in place, right now, the Ninth Circuit ruling will stand if it goes all the way up. If the Supreme Court at that votes and doesn't have 5 votes to break the tie, the Supreme Court can say, that's it. We're done, and it stands. This is why it matters. We must fight judicial activism, and we must get Gorsuch put on the court so that we can protect our borders. We're out of time. I'm Susan Swift.
Hey,
you can find
really
me
quick.
at Susan Swift and at susanswift.net. Thanks for listening. Yes, Dan.
Let me promote tonight, Stafford Voice, 10 o'clock. My good friend Sam Janney is going to be on. She's fantastic, and everybody needs to listen. That's it.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you Wednesday.